recording. Hey guys, welcome to Timeout with Brennan and Darryl. On today's episode, we would like to welcome our special guest, Shelby Deacon. Shelby is here to talk about a situation that is close to her heart, multiple sclerosis. So before we get into the personal side of how MS affects Shelby, let's discuss what exactly the disease is. So what is it? Multiple sclerosis is a progressive immune-mediated disorder, which means a system designed to keep your body healthy mistakenly attacks a part of your body that are vital to everyday function. So how does it affect the body? MS can affect your brain, spinal cord, and the optic nerves in your eyes. It can cause problems with vision, balance, muscle control, and other basic body functions. So the damage means your brain can't send signals through your body correctly. What are the warning signs prior to being diagnosed? Some early warning signs are painful vision loss in one eye, facial paralysis, persistent limb weakness or numbness, and severe ongoing dizziness.
Welcome, Shelby, and thank you for coming on our show.
Hi, no problem.
We're glad to have you today. How has MS affected you personally?
So personally, my mother was diagnosed with MS back in 2010. At the time, I was so young, I don't really couldn't comprehend what was going on and what it was. And then as I got older and I got more into the sciences, I started to research it and figure out how serious the disease actually is. So luckily, my mom's MS is very slowly progressing. So she's had almost no progression in 10 years. And I know for her, it affects me personally. Obviously she's my mother, but there is no cure for it. There's only ways to slow it down and stuff. So you can't cure it. There's no treatment. So it's one of those things that you just kind of have to live with it and hope it doesn't get too bad.
Right.
So what would you say the largest obstacle or most challenging aspect in which your family faces on a daily basis?
So like I said, luckily my mom's is very slow. So we haven't had any of the super severe problems that can arise from it. But one of the hardest things definitely on my mother is just you never know what's going to happen. You don't know what the future holds. So she said mentally it's very debilitating to kind of always have it in the back of your head. You don't know when you're going to lose function. You don't know when some of the vital things you're doing now you won't be able to do. She doesn't know if she'll end up in a wheelchair eventually. So
I think it's crazy that you're talking about it like that, because honestly, how long has your parents lived on the same street as my parents? Years.
Yeah.
I see your mom walking that dog daily, and apart from you releasing this fundraising challenge, I never in a million years would have guessed that there was something.
And believe it or not, the neighbor across the street has MS too.
Really?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I think it affects more people than we realize.
Mm-hmm.
What are your next steps in preventative measures and slowing down the disorder that your mom could take? There's
currently, one of the best treatments they have is just prescription drugs. So my mom takes one called Copaxone, which is basically just an injection to try and slow down the progression of it. Like I said, there is no cure, there is no treatment. Really, all you can do is slow it down, and if you catch it early enough, then you're better off. I know that I have some friends down south on one of the clubs that I'm on, and some of them, if you don't catch it early enough, it can be very debilitating very quickly. So.
How did your mom realize she had that?
So, I remember one time I was probably 10 or 11. It was when we just moved into our new house, and she was closing the blinds on the main floor, and she dropped my iPod, and she tried to hide it from me, she didn't smash my screen. So I wake up in the morning and I go downstairs. I'm like, Mom, where's my iPod? She goes, oh yeah, about that. And that's when she realized she couldn't feel her fingers. She had no idea my iPod was in her hand.
Oh,
wow.
So she was like, okay, that wasn't normal. It took her the whole night to realize it until I asked her. And then that's when she was like, okay, I can't feel my fingers and I can't feel my toes. And then it was kind of just, oh, sorry, I thought it disconnected. It was kind of just one thing after another where she was like, okay, this isn't really adding up. So then she went down, she got some CT scans. I don't know what they do on your brain, but she got some kind of scans done, and then they ended up finding some just some very small traces, but it was affecting the nerves that run down to her fingers and her toes. So.
Oh man.
But you said she got diagnosed in 2010, right?
I think so, 2010 or 2012. Yeah.
What does she feel today? 10 or 8 years later?
Today it's still basically the same thing. So like no feeling in the ends of her fingers or her toes. Luckily, she hasn't had much more progression. They do think there's one like pathway to her leg, because every now and then her leg will kind of start like twitching and spazzing out obviously without her control. So they think that unfortunately her legs will probably be the next thing, but they're not too sure right now.
So obviously it has to be hard to watch a family member going through this challenging disorder, but researchers have discovered many treatments that can slow its progression. And research in the end is the key to changing the future of MS, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, what fundraising challenge are you running with to increase the funding for this research?
So I'm doing, it's called the May 50K challenge. So essentially what it is you do a fundraising campaign online, and the money will go towards researching for MS. And the goal of it is to run, it's supposed to be 50 kilometers throughout the month of May, but you can do as many as you want. So currently, like I'm done week 1, so we're May 8th. I've done 25 kilometers already, and I've raised over $300.
Wow.
So that's pretty good. But I know, like down south at university, I'm part of a club, like an MS club at Western, and there we do a lot of fundraising, we do a lot of campaigning and informing students and everything like that.
That's awesome.
How do you train for your runs? Like, was there any prior training? Is there nutrition? Like, is there a special thing you do to prepare for this?
So like beforehand, during my second semester, I was actually training for a half marathon. And then with everything that happened, school got canceled, the marathon got canceled. So I was originally training for that. And then once everything got canceled, I kind of had no incentive to keep running, because I just, personally, I didn't really see a point in training for no reason. But once I got back, I seen there was actually with Shannon Daly, I seen had shared the May 50K on Facebook. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. Like, get me back in shape, get my butt in gear, and be able to support something that's close to the heart. So I decided to just kind of keep on with the training plan that I had from beforehand for my half marathon, and just kind of keep going with that.
That's great. It really helps when you have incentive to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
And who better to run with than Shannon? Oh my God. You see her training regimen? It's insane.
Yeah, I don't run the same she does.
Go ahead, Brett.
No, that's you.
No. Are there days where you're not motivated?
Oh, yeah. So I unfortunately hate running on treadmills, like absolutely hate it. So I always run outside. And on days when it's raining and snowing, like today, I don't want to drag my butt outside and go run. Like.
So at the end of the day, what motivates you?
My mom. Like, she supported me through my 20 years of life. The least I can do is get my butt in gear for a month and go out and run for her. So I also do, I have one of my close friends down south who's my age, so she's 20 years old, and she was diagnosed with MS when she was 12. And hers is like way more debilitating than my mom's. So like she sometimes has no vision, like hers is very more progressed than my mom's. So just like seeing her go through school, and like in first year she had to take a latent course load because she just couldn't do it. So just seeing her be able to persevere and go through that just motivates me to realize like I have a very good life. I'm healthy, I'm fit, and I should be taking advantage of that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Before we let you go, we have one more question to ask. What is the one thing about MS that you wish other people understood?
Yes. So one thing, get informed, get involved, and just do your best to make a difference. Kind of like we were talking about earlier, like so many people have it and you could have no idea. Like 77,000 Canadians live with MS, and Canada actually has one of the highest rates in the entire world. So there's a super good chance that you know somebody who is affected by MS. So just do your part.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, we want to thank you for coming on our show again. It's been a pleasure to have you.
No problem.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time to watch the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube page. Comment if there's any subjects you'd like us to discuss. And also, we're going to share the link for Shelby's page. So make sure you get on that, make some donations, and let's help her reach her goal and hopefully get over that goal.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thanks.
Thank you, Shelby.